Welcome back to our program for this evening. My name is Pastor Troy Christopher, and here is my beautiful wife of 15 years. Yes, my wife of 15 years. This year we make 16 years since we are married, and prior to that we court for approximately 5 years. So this year we'll be together for 21 years. Bless the Lord. God has been extremely good to us. So today we'll be sharing with you on the subject of puberty, but we will be looking at more of practical experience. We're going to be sharing some of our experience with you growing up as teens, as well as now we have teenage kids, right? So we're going to be sharing some of those experiences with you. I just want you to know that, either myself or my wife, we are no experts in these areas or in this area that we are discussing tonight. But we just want to share some of our experience with you, and I think it will, go far way. It is the Apostle Paul who said in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 11, he says, when I was a child, I spoke like a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. This basically speaks of, we don't stay one way at all time. There is that transitional period, and that's basically what we want to talk to you about tonight, the stage of puberty. As Paul says, and as myself and wife were discussing earlier in preparation for this evening, is that when you're a child, for example, a baby, we were discussing a baby, and our baby respond. For example, let's say if maybe the baby might be 6 months, 9 months, the baby basically respond to song. That's according to Dr. Gary Chapman in his book, which speaks of the 5 love languages. He said that in those early age, the baby only respond to song. So for example, you can say, you sweet little thing you, and they will laugh, and then you would say, you little rascal, always behaving bad, and they would still respond to that, because they basically respond to song.
Yeah.
But like Paul is saying, as you grow, you put away.
I like that because, as Paul was saying, he said, when I was a child, I spoke as a child.
Yes.
So when you were a child, your conversation
Yes.
with your friends, with your peers,
Yes.
it was somewhat childish.
Yes.
And even as you grow, even as you develop, your thought, your thinking, or you communicate,
Yes.
it's, that of a child. But like we say, as you transition now, it's different. You try to adopt new ways and you respond to things differently.
Beautiful. I love that. All right, so it's from this perspective we'll be sharing with you tonight. As I said, some of our personal experience, as well as, the knowledge we would have gained in the process. So we want to jump straight into the topic for tonight. So tell us, or tell the audience, your understanding of puberty. What is puberty?
So puberty is simply a series of changes your body will go through as you grow up.
Yes.
This usually happens between the ages of 8 to 13 years.
Okay.
In every child, it's different.
Yes.
Because some children, the puberty gland are very eager,
Yes.
while some would normally take their
A
time.
little more longer, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the important thing to note there is that we all will go through, or they all will go through puberty.
Mm-hmm.
It just takes a little time.
Beautiful.
And the more we educate and inform them about it, it's the better for them and us. For some children, they may feel nervous about this process.
Okay.
But as parents, what we have to do is to educate, inform them about it.
The process.
Let them know what they're about to go into. Some of the expectations, some of the changes that they will go through, or the body will go through.
So there we have it, puberty and what is puberty. Now let's look at how we actually prepare them for this process, right? Because of course, as you said earlier, they might be a little bit uncomfortable,
Yes.
to talk. How do we actually prepare them for this process?
Awareness. Awareness is very important.
Okay,
Informing and educating them about it, it's a key role. It's vital at this point.
beautiful.
So what we have to do is create a type of atmosphere
Oh,
so that they can feel comfortable, they can be relaxed. And at that point is when you give them the information that is necessary or relevant.
I like that because sometimes kids are very jumpy when it comes to certain
So
topic.
true.
Yeah, at a certain age you try to talk to them about sex, or you try to talk to them about certain private things.
Yeah.
They're a little shy and nervous about that
Yeah.
process. So I like that you make them comfortable. You make them feel comfortable, and then you're able to you create the atmosphere that is conducive, and then you're able to
Give them the information that is
that they
relevant.
need. That's beautiful. You're getting beautiful information tonight. All right, let's continue with the process. So, I want to ask the question now. Let's say, for example, we have a case where it's a single mother, and maybe she has a son, or maybe two sons, or a case where it's a single father, single parent father, and he has, let's say, two daughters, right? How do we treat a situation like that? Because I know sometimes it can be very uncomfortable, and not only that, with the stigma that is attached, especially to fathers and daughters, we heard a lot of rumors, and some of it is actually true, and the stigma that is attached to fathers and daughters. With that said, we're not dealing with the extreme aspect of that tonight. But let's say, how does a father talk to his daughters, or in a situation like that where it's a single parent home and the father, with two daughters, how do we deal with a situation like that? Or in another case where a single parent home with a mother and our sons, explain to us how should we deal with a situation like that? Because we
That's,
have to educate them.
that's great. But before I probably answer that, what I realized over the years is that parents find it was very unusual, or it was not a topic that was really discussed. Persons would have gone into it and telling their children about this kind of forum. I'm not sure, for whatever reason, maybe if it's the content or the volume of it, or maybe they were shy, maybe they didn't have enough information, I'm not sure, for whatever reason. But long ago, you never find, too much of this conversation going on in
Parents talking
homes.
to their kids, about the physical changes in
Yes,
their body and about sex and all of these stuff. I think it's true. A lot of times, and even now, parents do shy away from the subject.
so true. But back to the question that you asked, in the sense of a single parent family where you have maybe a mom and her son, if she is not able to talk with him or relate to him, what she can do is maybe to have a pastor or an uncle to relate to him the kind of information that he needs to go through the process. Let him know some of the physical changes and some of the signs that he will experience. Because you don't want them to, have to be seeing the signs and so before you talk to them.
About, yes, you want them to be caught off guard, but they must be informed about the process. Beautiful, I like that.
Yes, so and in the case of a single parent home where you might have the father and his daughter, then if he feels somewhat uncomfortable talking or relating to her about this topic, then maybe he can get his mom or his a sister or an aunt or somebody that he knows that she will feel comfortable around, because you remember we have to create the type of atmosphere for them, because without the atmosphere, it's you cannot, there's not much you can get over, so you have to create the type of atmosphere.
That is beautiful. Out here listening, those of you that are tuning online, if you're a single parent, whether father or mother, you have kids and you're a little uncomfortable, in talking to your kids,
You need to get help.
yeah, get help, get a third party in, somebody that you trust, you're comfortable with, and they can assist with, guiding, with guidance, in terms of sharing information.
Yes, because they need to be aware.
Yes. All right. So we're moving along with the topic smoothly. So what really, I'm curious as to, what caused puberty.
Remember, we're not experts, but I would have done some research, and what I realize is that for the female, there's a puberty gland that is located beneath the front of our brain.
Okay.
And this is what starts or trigger the process.
Okay.
So upon that triggering, you find that there's a signal that is sent
Okay.
to our ovary, telling it to make a special chemical or hormone. And this is called estrogen.
Wow. I've never really heard about that before.
Yes.
So explain to us what exactly is estrogen.
So estrogen is basically an hormone in the female that triggers most of the changes and development in our body. Many of these changes will happen over a period of time and a different rate for everybody. So you find persons, like we said earlier, some persons, the puberty gland are very eager, while some would normally take their time. So you might find some children they're coming in very early, and on the other hand, you have children that are coming in very late.
That was some vital information there. So tell us exactly what are some of the signs, some of the physical changes to look for in the process of puberty. What are some of the signs we look for
So for the female, you will find her getting a little taller and her body getting a little wider. And because lots of cases you find sometimes, we would just say to them, oh, you're stretching, and not realizing that they're starting to experience the process of puberty.
Okay.
So these are things we have to look for. This is one of the signs that we can look for, and we can know that the process of puberty has started.
Okay.
And in that case, now you find as a mother, you have to now start to invest in more undergarments and even new clothes for them in some cases.
Okay.
Yes, and then the other physical changes that you will see there also is they start to grow hair in certain parts of their body.
Okay.
In the pubic area.
Okay.
They start, little ears begin to shoot.
Okay.
Yeah, and along with that, you find them craving sweet.
Okay.
And with that, it tends to give them body odor. Is one of the other thing, body odor, and you find with that also they start to get little pimples on their faces.
Okay.
Yes, with some of them, their hair and their faces becomes much oilier than usual, than the norm. They also have breast growth.
All right, we're talking about parents and children relationships, and our focus tonight is on puberty.
Yes. So for these young girls now that are now getting into this, they feel somewhat happy. There's this joy because they're somewhat excited, to wear these little trainees because they come in a lot of colors and size and. So what I realized over the years is that, even some adults, you might ask them, well, what size of bra you wear? And they're not sure. Because, it's like you just go into a store and you put on a bra and whichever one fits. And sometimes purchasing a bra, you might have on other clothes and you try on, and then when you get home, then it's not your size really, because maybe around there it's tight or the cup is too full or too small. So you find a lot of persons have challenges even at this.
Selecting the right.
Yes. So here is a little tip that you can use at home to assist yourself or maybe your kids in finding the right bra size. Now, you take a tape measure and you put it around your chest area.
Okay.
That's just beneath your bust there. And you measure that. Now, that's the frame. We're trying to find for the frame there. If you have an even number, then you add 4. If you have an odd number, you add 5 to that.
Okay.
So let's say, for instance, we take that tape measure and we put it just under our bust at our chest area there. And we have 30. Now, like I said, if you have an even number, you add 4 to
4
that.
to that.
So we have 30, so we had 4 to that. So we have 34 there. So you keep that in mind. Your bust line or your frame there is 34.
Okay.
Now, the other part is that you take the tape measure now again and you measure your bust line. That's the fullest part of your bust. That's just over your chest area, the fullest part of your bust there, you measure that. Let's say when you measure, you have 35. Now you have 35 as your bust line, and the frame is 30, and you add the 4, you have 34. So you have 35 and you have 34. Now, how to determine what cup you wear? Now, what you normally do if you have, let's say if it's both of them, is if your line and your frame is the same number, then in that case you wear a cup.
Okay.
So, remember we would have done a measurement and we had 35 for the bust line and the frame we had 34. So it's different by 1.
Okay.
So in that case, that person would wear an A cup.
Okay.
If it's different by 2, or if it varies by 2, then you wear a B cup.
Okay.
If you find it different by it differ or vary by 3, then you wear a C cup, and it goes on like that.
Okay.
So once it's the same, once you would have measured your frame and your line, and it's the same, you wear a AA cup.
Okay.
And if it different or vary by 1, you wear a A cup. So in that case where the person had a frame of 34 and their line was 35, that different by 1. So that person wore an A cup.
Okay. Beautiful. That's a lot of information.
Yes.
I think it's necessary because, like my wife, well, I really don't know much. I would accompany my wife from time to time to pick up certain stuff. I'm not, the whole shopping person, but I would accompany, and, it's always, a challenge when, you go in certain stores to, to wait.
That's true. And like I said, sometimes by time, if you don't know how to do it, and then by time you get home, you just pick up a bra, just look at it and say, this one might fit. And then when you get home, it's too tight, or the cup might be too full, or it might be too, tight, then it's uncomfortable.
Beautiful.
So it's important that we get the right size of bra, whether for ourselves or our kids.
All right, so continue telling us about some of the physical changes. We're talking about some of the physical changes, that, our kids experience as they grow up. Mostly, my wife is focusing on the female.
Yes.
So tell us.
Yes, so like for the female now again, they have vaginal discharge.
Okay.
So you find sometimes that they go and take a bath or so, and they, when they get down there, they realize that there's a little spots or so.
Okay.
But you remember we said from the inception, information, you inform them, you educate them. So once you would have done this as a parent,
it would not be
when they see this, it wouldn't be as a surprise, or they won't get scared in any way. So after the vaginal discharge, then you find the period comes in.
Okay.
And with that, now there's period cramps and pain that comes with that. You find some young girls having this before and during the period, where they have severe tummy pain for some cases.
Okay.
And this can be very uncomfortable. Just to know, these physical changes do not happen all at once, but it's over a period of time. And some persons, in some cases, might feel somewhat shy about talking. As I mentioned before, you have to find ways to talk to them. Talk to your children early about it. Because like we mentioned, you don't want them to be experiencing these signs or having to experiencing them at first hand and then you relating to them.
All right, so thanks a lot. That's a lot of information you give us there. In similar um, fashion, the guys go through, growth in terms of, their height. In some cases, they put on some muscles. They go through voice change, where the voice get a lot deeper. That transition, they change over to that bass. Yeah, and then you start saying, "You're a big man. You're getting big." And for some of them, you see this acne on their face, and
Yes.
we would trouble them or tease them. You get love biles and love and stuff like that, right? That's what we used to say when you were younger and you start get these acne or pimple or blackhead, whatever it has. You would say, buy love or stuff like that, and you technically you trouble them. All of these changes, and then you would get hair in certain places on the arm and private area, you get a beard and thing, so these are some of the changes that the guys they actually go through. In addition to that, there is what I call wet dream, right? They that process or that phase they will go through. I can share from my experience. It was a surprise to me because if I should go a little deeper into my background, I didn't actually grow with my biological father. My biological father died in an accident when I was around, I think, about 9 years, somewhere around there.
Okay,
He
so
passed. So yes, so I
that was
grew.
just about the age you started the
Yes.
process.
So my foster father didn't say anything. So I technically had to figure out everything for myself. So, when I first got a wet dream, I was so scared. I get up and start checking myself, examining. I thought I wet the bed. Right? I really didn't know exactly, what had transpired. But upon investigation and over a period of time, I discovered exactly, what really transpired, right? And I become a lot more self-conscious and aware, and as you start to develop, you start increasing knowledge, right? So it's very important that we spend time talking to our kids.
So
right?
true.
Educate them, about the different process before, the peers out there start to,
That's
tell them
true.
all manner of foolishness. You can experiment here and experiment there, and you got to prove yourself you're a man, and you got to do this and you got to do all kind of foolishness. That's what they put in, into their head. So it's very important,
Yes.
as parents.
That we educate them first and early. Because
Yes.
before they would normally see these signs, we
These
need
signs.
to inform
Talk
them,
to them.
let them know what is it they would expect, what is it they will see.
And I like how you mentioned earlier, we create the atmosphere,
Yes.
right, where it's conducive to talk, right? You set the stage, and then you have these conversation with them, and be real.
Yes.
Don't cover anything, or don't shy away from it, or don't hide anything. You unfold, and you tell them as it is, because trust me, information is out there. And and especially the kids
Yes.
in this age, they are very smart, very smart, right? As some persons would say, some of them like the bar big or the bar old, right? They are very clever in some cases. Some of the things they do and say,
It's true
at
because
their age, at our age, when we were like their age, we were a lot more, reserved and so on, but they are a little bit more upbeat and, to the rhythm of the music. Right? So it's very important that we still, don't take these things for granted, that we, set the stage and we have talks with them.
yes, inform them way before they
Yes.
experience this.
Yes. So we talk about some of the physical changes that, happens in our kids as they, go through the stage of puberty. How does this affect them? How does puberty affect them mentally or emotionally?
In some kids, they get very self-conscious.
Okay.
whereby they tend to, you know, like the scripture that we would have read earlier. It says, when I was a child, I speak as a child, you know. Your thought was as of that of a child. But even as you grow, they change. So emotionally, they get very self-conscious. They tend to, they don't just run around. You would find them as a child, they run around the place with their underwear and all these things. As they grow, as they develop, you know, that normally don't happen anymore. They take pride in how they look and what they wear. Their appearance is very important at this time. So you wouldn't find them, you know, going out the yard with maybe an underwear and all of these things. They make sure they're well attired, whether it's to do with their hair or their clothes, what they put on. It's important to them at that point.
I think from some of what I observe from our kids as well, and that's why I've been saying, and I think one of our previous program, that the term social distancing, you know,
It's not
not something new, because let's say, for example, you have, you know, teenage kids that are now exploring, discovering, you know, looking for their own identity. In somewhat they tend to isolate themselves. You
Need
know,
that space.
yes, some of them in some cases have, you know, like mood swings. You know, they lock in the room, you know, and sometimes they're all jovial and nice with you, and the next time they just want to be by themselves.
They can change mood in just flips a second.
Yes, so we can probably say that maybe puberty, you know, would cause them to, you know, have these different
mood swings.
Yes, emotional changes.
Yes. In some cases, you find some of them getting frustrated very easily when they, you know, maybe set a goal and it's hard to achieve, or, you know, they can't get around something. You know, they get somewhat frustrated and they
Very
get
fast.
angry, and all of these emotion and all of these things would come into play. But these emotional changes are an important part of them working out their own moral value and identity.
Oh, beautiful. All right, so we've come to the end of our program for this evening, sharing on the subject of puberty. We would have discussed some of our own experience with you as parents, and even as you know, young growing up, some of the experiences we've had. Any closing remarks? Any closing words?
Yes, so remember, as parents, what we need to do is try to inform them as early. You know, don't wait until you see a physical sign before you know, let them know what to expect.
Beautiful.
Because you don't want them to, you know, be fearful or, you know, get nervous about the process. So informing them early about it is very vital. You know, even as they go through the process as parents, we need to be patient with them.
Patient, yes.
We need to go down to their level, try to understand what they're going through. You know, be emotionally sensitive to some of their feelings, because remember, all of these emotional and physical changes come with, you know, different feelings. For some children, it's very hard because, let's say, like we would mention with the girl with the irregular period and the cramps and the pains that she would go
it's quite
through.
challenging, yeah.
You have to be emotionally sensitive to their needs.
Go down to their level, try to
Yes.
understand, and, you know,
Yes, and guide them through that process.
Yeah, beautiful.
You know, and even at that time, they need to be affirmed. Give them affirmation, give them love. It's very important.
That is beautiful, and that has brought us to the end of our program tonight. Thanks for joining us. On behalf of myself and my beautiful wife, we want to say thank you very much for joining us. That has been our program tonight on puberty. God bless you. Do remember to join us Saturday morning at 10 a.m. for our virtual service. Until then, God bless you.